Okay. Welcome, everybody. This is Steve Lentini, and I'm your host for the podcast, Different Thinking for Different Times. This is season 3, episode 4. And today, as I promised, I have a guest. And the guest is Mike Sherrick, who's an author and a coach and an entrepreneur and a men's leader. And he's written a book that aligns with a lot of what I've been talking about breaking through limited, small-minded thinking into limitless, expansive, infinite thinking. And first, it begins with questioning our thinking. So, Mike, say hello to everybody and tell us a little bit about your book, and I'll have some questions for you.
Yeah. Hey, Steve. How you doing, man? Thanks for having me, first of all.
I'm grateful that you are willing to go through this process, because I might even ask you, wow, does that sound like small-minded thinking, Mike?
That would be fine, man. I mean, really, because that's basically the book is to challenge the current paradigms that we're existing in, right? So the name of the book is The Manhood Manifesto, and it's
say it again.
Manhood Manifesto.
I like it.
And it's got a subtitle of a very assertive subtitle of how men must lead at home, at work, and in the public sphere, right? And it really is. It's a call for men to both own their masculinity, their responsible masculinity, and also own their role as leaders. And leadership, as I explain in the book, is more a way of being than it is a position. So this book is really about the being of masculinity and the being of leadership. And it points to a lot of things that get in the way of it. Some of like you would call small-minded thinking. And it also, points to some of the context we've created over time, because it's been pretty comfortable, and we get comfortable. So that's kind of what an overview of what the book's about.
And, it does sound like it challenges people to expand into larger thinking, right? Because when you think about manhood and the responsibility for leadership, it's about first thinking about what are you modeling, I think. And you're getting people to step up to that.
Steve, one of the first things it does, it really calls people forth to, first of all, take an inventory, to look at themselves, to understand who they are, what they stand for, and ultimately identify why they're here. What is your purpose? Because if we don't have a purpose, it just becomes about an exercise of consumption, And we don't need more consumption. We need more purposeful action. So it's really about getting to know oneself. And then when you get to know oneself, you connect to something bigger than you, because otherwise it becomes narcissistic, right?
Yeah.
And so that through that connection of learning about yourself and understanding, and also a connection to something greater than you, a purpose there will be access to really discovering what your purpose is. And each of us have a purpose, and our purpose is a unique expression of who we are. And that's what we would call being authentic, right? And so and then it's like traveling that, I mean, the belief is that success is actually self-knowledge plus authentic expression will lead you to a path of success. That's really what it's about.
Yeah. So would you say that if people are driven by the small-minded thinking, and I think about men almost leading from things like greed and lust and making mistakes in those areas, which are things to learn from.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
And then to expand, starting with the end in mind and work backwards from a higher self. Is that what you're encouraging people to?
Yeah, that's what it's about. If you are self-aware, you know where you're at the moment, so you become present, right? And if you're clear on your purpose, that's the future you're living into. And so if you stand in the future and look backwards, and you can create a series of milestones to achieve, and it puts you on the journey. Now, here's the thing, as well as me, anytime we're from point A going to point B, it's not a linear track, man. We're gonna be up against it. We're gonna be stuff's gonna be messing with us. And that's where life comes into play, right? That's where you can really learn who you're about. That's where you get to really get some on you and understand who you are, and really develop the gifts that you've been given but haven't developed, right? And And it's just, it's that series of, once you engage, instantly there's going to be resistance, because that's how life works, right? And it's just that's what I'm encouraging people to get out of their heads, get in their hearts, and get into action. That's really the thing, you know, and be clear where they're going.
And when you say action, would that be serving a higher purpose, repairing the world rather than contributing to its downfall, or doing something positive with male leadership?
What I mean by action are taking the physical steps to fulfill on your purpose. And if your purpose is divinely inspired, as the Constitution or anything else like that, right? But that's really where our purpose is served from. I would hope to think they would be positive, right? Someone's going to have a judgment about it. I try not to get too much into what's positive and negative, but just I'm more about alignment, right, and balance. And so yeah, I would think it would be a positive contribution if someone's like living into their, you know, divinely inspired purpose. I would hope, you know, yeah. But you know, who knows?
All right. So what would you say drove you to write this?
Oh my! First of all, I am a flawed human, and I am an older adult male, and I have been a knucklehead, and I've made a million mistakes and stepped in a million landmines, right? And I think what drove me to write it was just the witnessing of the struggle so many people have been having. And ultimately what drove me to write it was I was asked a couple questions. And you know, the work I do is I work as a leader, a coach of leaders, you know, and just noticing there, and it just kind of came up organically. Like it's not something I generated. It's like I'm more of a vessel than anything else, if that makes any sense. I don't mean to be woo. I'm not a woo guy. You know, I used to drive a bulldozer, but you know, but that's actually how it occurs. It's like something that just more than anything used me. It's been an unusual experience.
So the universe or the divine or whatever anyone wants to call it, the
creator. Fill in your blank. I'm not selling that, right?
Yeah, no.
No, and I have my own
my
belief.
story.
Well, exactly.
It has no name, right? But there is a power.
Exactly, and I think that's it, and that's part of the process of discovering who you are. When you get all the ego away and all the consumption away and all the noise away, all of a sudden there's just this pureness to it, right? And I don't mean to get all Eckhart Tolle on everyone, but that's the dude's onto something. There's a reason he is who he is, right?
Yeah.
And when you get there, it's a pretty interesting place to create from.
Yes.
And it's in some ways, I even say early this is not my creation. I'm the vehicle for it. You know, mm-hmm. This is something that, you know, I'm babbling right now because like you said, sometimes there's no words for it. You know, mm-hmm. It's just a message. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Would you say to men, stop apologizing for being a man and step up and contribute whatever their gift is?
Absolutely. I think first and foremost, so many men and our culture's browbeaten men, and in some cases I mean, there's legitimate reasons for it, but enough's enough. I think first and foremost, men have got to stop the violence. They've got to stop the abuse, and they've got to stop especially the abuse of power, be it in corporate America or in personal relationships, right? And start getting responsible for that. And then they're just like, I do not apologize for being a man. I don't apologize for being white. I don't apologize for being Christian. I don't apologize for any of it. You know, if you're interested, you want to know, I will talk to you till the cows come home and share with you where I'm coming from. If you don't agree with me, I'm good with it. But I have nothing. I've cleaned all that up. You know, I had to do that work to write the book. You know, and I've apologized for things. I mean, if I do something stupid, I'll clean it up. But I'm not going to dwell all day on it. I'm just going to clean it up. You know? Yeah. That's a great question, Steve. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on, and when you think of small-minded, finite thinking, I think that your book is the opposite of that. It's asking people to step up.
Yeah, it really is. It's a call to action more than anything, you know, and it's a call to owning oneself. You know, we're all products of a divine experience, and that should be celebrated and laughed about it, owned fully and proud of, right? And just let's have more of that, you know? And then to do that and to do that fully is when we step in it, clean it up.
Right.
Clean it up.
Right. Yeah, I often say we're here to make mistakes, and
Yeah.
don't forget that if there were no mistakes, then this wouldn't be the same experience without opposite mistakes. And I think too that people forget, and men especially sometimes, that we live in a miracle. I mean, literally, we take it for granted. We call it the earth and the sun.
I know.
It's a miracle.
It's absolutely
floating at the exact right spot around an exposed nuclear fusion plant. Really, I mean, that's what it is. So,
oh my God, yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and we take so much for granted, and I think that's part of it too. Is like, to stop from if people would get present for a minute, just what in the hell is actually going on, it would be amazing. That's why I ride my Harley. I get on my Harley, and I got to be present, right? Because if I'm not present, bad things will happen, right? And you get on the Harley, and all of a sudden you start noticing things. You're noticing the different colors of green. You notice the different smells, the different temperatures as you're going through different elevations. You notice the sounds. You know, you notice people differently. You see animals you haven't seen before. It's a remarkable experience. You know, and then you think about like, and you know, and it's just a gift. Like every second we have is a gift.
It is.
It really is. So that's there's a quote in there I have that life is precious and it's urgent. And I really hope if people get anything from the book, I hope they get that and then choose from there.
Yeah, I'm going to use that quote with your permission in my teachable work. Yeah.
Yeah. Life is precious and it's urgent. You know, life is precious. Yeah. But it's urgent too. Like you don't know how much time you got.
No.
Don't dick around.
No.
It's a technical phrase. Yeah.
I get it. November 18th. Well, November 13th, I'm doing a seminar. And then the next second I needed an ambulance and I was never any symptoms. And on the 18th, I flatlined and I was 50 years old. And so I'm now going to be 69 this year. I'm grateful for the additional 18 plus years, and every day's become the World Series. But I can tell you that before that, yeah, there were present moments, but mostly I was a bitter, angry asshole, pardon my French, on the inside.
Yeah, no, I know.
Right? I just had a happy face on, but I wanted life to be different than it was. And to surrender, to be in the moment and remind myself that I live in a miracle has been a big gift, along with the second chance that not everyone gets. It's a great point. So,
and think of the
name of the book.
Hold on 1 second. Think of the gift you are for people, and think of that. That's the part that's amazing, man. And think of the message and the inspiration you provide, just because of that. I mean, it's really, this whole thing, man, is wild. So
it is a miracle, and you know what? I haven't taken that fully in yet. After 18 years, my acorn brain likes to say, "Who you? Come on."
It's a New Yorker in you. Yeah, come on. I'm a come on. Yeah, exactly.
You're Steve Lentini. You're no miracle, you know, exactly. And we all are. Yeah, and,
right.
And to have had that extra special experience, and I know I'm not the only one. There are other people that have had those near-death experiences. Yeah. I'm just blessed to have had one, and we met in very serendipitous ways.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us again the name of the book, and then close with a thought that you'd like to leave everyone with, Mike.
Okay. So the name of the book again is Manhood Manifesto: How Men Must Lead at Home, at Work, and in the Public Sphere. It's published by Bombardier Books of Post Hill Press, and I think tomorrow you can pre-order it on Amazon. I think so I've been told. Legend has it, you know. the thought that I'd like to leave people with, I shared with you really one of the real reasons is, life is precious and it's urgent, but um, everybody is really doing their best, and just hold back on your judgment just a hair, you know, and there's, because we can always go back to it. And so really the whole premise of the book is when you're looking at something that's new, release your current position and see if you can look from a different angle, because you can always go back to where you were. Always. No one's going to take that away from you.
That's a great thought. That's a great thought.
Yeah, that's it, brother.
It rings with me, it rings true, because I say to people on the podcast often that your job is your journey and everyone else's is none of your business, really, right? We've got to get to that point where large-minded, infinite thinkers let people have their journey and accept different points of views. And we don't have to look far in the culture today to find that both sides or all sides think they're right and no place to negotiate or to have a dialogue. And that is really small-minded.
Yeah, I agree with you 1,000%, brother.
So how do people get in touch with you? What's your email?
My email is Mike Sherrick, SHERECK @gmail.com. You can get a hold of me on LinkedIn. It's Michael Sherrick on LinkedIn because I'm professional there. There's going to be a Manhood Manifesto. There really is. It's just starting a Manhood Manifesto Facebook group that literally started yesterday. So that's a way to get on. Just look for Manhood Manifesto. I believe the title is Manhood Manifesto Dude and Dudette Club. So I think that's the official name of it. But yeah, it's Manhood Manifesto. And I think that's, if you want me to give my phone number?
No,
I don't think so. But I mean, I'm more than willing to, but I just get a million calls and my voice box would get locked up. But
well, I give my email, and I can tell you, I started off the year with more emails from people telling me I've been awarded 9.6 million, 3.2 million. When I help them access it, and they'll share it with me. And I chuckle and say, well, just send me your bank account details and I'll see what I can do to help you.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't care about that. I'm a pretty transparent guy. You can find me. I'm not hard to find.
Well, people that email you will get your way to contact you. And
absolutely.
Let me just say this in closing about Mike. I've known Mike for quite a while, and he's my coach. And Mike holds me accountable to get things done, and I've achieved a lot just in the last few months.
You're fun, man.
Let alone going back beyond that. I've created some courses, written some ebooks, written completed updates on books, and it's because Mike holds me accountable in such a fair and reasonable way. In fact, he doesn't say, "All right, what's on the list today?" But because of his presence and his mindfulness, I come up with the things. His energy motivates me to get those things done. So for that, Mike, I'm grateful and thank you. And this will be on my, thank you. And this will be on my podcast.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Stephen. Have a great one, brother.
Thank you,
everyone who's listening. It's a joy.
Be well.
I will.